and entertainment companies.
July 5th, 2000.
It's a $15 billion industry.
It might not help out everybody out in America, but it's helped me out. It's made me feel better for what I've gone through in my career for injuries.
They're just what you need to feel your best.
And it increases oxygen supply to the brain.
There are thousands of products being marketed that make claims for which there is no strong scientific basis.
They're marketed like drugs, but they're sold like food.
I thought that they only sold things that were good for you. I didn't know that things were sold that would kill you.
Tonight, the dangers of dietary supplements. Should the government step in?
From ABC News, this is Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
It's easy to understand our fascination with folk medicine. There is something profoundly reassuring about herbal remedies and cures that our colonial forefathers and mothers used in this country before the FDA or even the AMA was a glimmer in anybody's eye. There is also something comforting about the so-called natural medicines that our grandmothers employed back in the old country, whether that old country was Sierra Leone, Ireland, Poland, or China. Then again, there appears to be something artificial and manufactured about drugs, while herbal remedies sound so, well, natural. Natural or not, and some dietary supplements imported from Asia were found to contain, among other things, lead, arsenic, and mercury. It's a huge growth industry. This year alone, some $15 billion in sales. And anyway, we reassure ourselves, if there were anything wrong with that ephedra or St. John's wort, if there'd been any problems from taking melatonin or ginseng or ginkgo biloba, the government would step in, right? No, the Food and Drug Administration has nothing to do with clearing most of these products for sale. In the case of manufactured drugs, a pharmaceutical company has to get FDA approval before it can put a new drug on the market. In the case of dietary supplements, the FDA would have to prove that something was wrong with the product to get it off the market. And the people who put out the dietary supplements, what obligation do they have to report instances in which one of their products caused illness or death? Zero. None. We'll talk about how and why that came to pass a little later. First, though, this report from Nightline correspondent John Donvan.
Sometimes the heart of the matter lies in the small print. And here's what the small print says these days on some of the stuff that's been bottled for your health. Fuel for thought by Nature's Plus. Healthy brain function and general well-being, the bottle reads. But there's an asterisk. This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. Or nutritional support for joints by the Vitamin Shop. There's that asterisk again. And that same disclaimer about the FDA. And that's how it is as Americans over the past several years have rushed the doors of what used to be called health food stores. This represents the traffic, of course speeded up several times, during a 1-hour period at GNC here in Washington this afternoon. The bottles may come with asterisks, but the business is booming.
He launches one to deep center field.
The king of home runs, Mark McGwire, gave some of the credit for his amazing '98 season to a dietary supplement, and its sales soared. When we asked some prep school lacrosse players who'd been down to the local supplement store, 2 acknowledged taking an amino acid called creatine.
It helps me gain weight, and I did notice it helped me build up more muscle.
Then there's weight loss, and an ingredient called ma huang, from the plant of the same name, known chemically as ephedrine. People like Heidi Vanderwall have taken it to lose weight.
I lost 7 pounds in 2 weeks and then 35 pounds in 3.5 months, and found it to be the most freeing tool that I've ever come across.
All told, last year, Americans spent $15 billion buying vitamins, minerals, herbs, and amino acids to feel stronger, to think more clearly, to digest their food better, and so on and so on. From butcher's broom to go-to cola to hawthorn berries, which are supposed to fight insomnia and smooth digestion. Now, without a doubt, some of these herbs, long overlooked by Western medicine, do some people some good. And recent scientific research, especially in Europe, backs that up. So why, then, that asterisk? Well, it's the FDA's way of saying that it's not entirely sure what's inside the bottle. The testing that's demanded of conventional pharmaceuticals, the clinical trials, the hundreds of millions of dollars in research, it's not required by law for the pills and potions marketed as dietary supplements. The result, wrote former FDA Commissioner David Kessler recently, is a public that does not understand how potentially dangerous these products can be. That, for example, at least one supplement may be linked to cancer. It is time, he says, to change the law.
I don't know how we've gotten to the point where we walk into a supermarket or we walk into a drugstore and we see literally hundreds of products on the shelves. We see claims that have very little scientific basis. And we see products that are being sold that have real risk. I mean, we're turning back the standards that we have developed in this country, where if you walked into those stores, you could trust what was on the label.
With the passage of a 1994 law, the FDA got a lot of power to regulate the labeling of dietary supplements, so manufacturers cannot make outlandish medical claims. But when it comes to what's inside the bottle, the FDA has about the same regulatory power over that as it has over the quality of seafood. Seriously. Brand new supplements, and they're relatively few. Yes, the FDA can block those pretty easily. But the thousands of traditional supplements, those products are presumed safe and sent to market, just like seafood, until somebody gets sick or until the FDA can prove that there's a problem.
By putting the burden on the FDA to prove that, in fact, a substance is unsafe, to prove that a claim is false or misleading, I mean, it's like letting the horses out of the barn and asking FDA to go chase all of them.
But the supplement industry says it's not necessary to regulate its products with the stringent rules applied to pharmaceuticals.
A prescription drug is designed to treat, cure, or mitigate a disease. A dietary supplement is used by consumers to fill a gap in their nutritional dietary eating patterns. A dietary supplement is used to help to reduce the risk of certain diseases.
But then there's mahuang, or ephedra, an ingredient in the supplement that Heidi Vanderwall used to lose 35 pounds. We want to mention at this point that an ephedra trade group lobbied us repeatedly to include Vanderwall in this program once the group learned that we were planning to speak with this woman, Sarah Ingham, 24 years old, who suffered a stroke in April and walks with a limp. She was engaged to be married and wanted to lose weight and started taking a product with ephedra in it.
I got it at a general nutrition center, and I thought that they only sold things that were good for you. I didn't know that things were sold that would kill you.
Michael Hofstetter is Ingham's doctor.
You see advertisements on TV and the radio. It's just endless hawking these products. This is a multi-billion-dollar, very profitable industry for these supplements, and people don't realize they're actually drugs.
Is it proven that ephedra caused Ingham's stroke? No. But Dr. Raymond Woosley, a leading pharmacologist, sees plenty of red flags for ephedra nationally.
In the last year, I and 7 other people independently looked at 140 of the over 800 cases that have been sent to the FDA, and everyone agreed that the strokes, the heart attacks, the deaths that were in those cases were most likely the result of this drug.
Clearly, the supplement industry is on the defensive about the ephedra scare, in light of the fact that so many people use it without apparent harm. And again, if you go to the fine print, responsible ephedra makers always spell out that it's not for everybody.
We believe that if you use it appropriately according to the standard national warning label, that the product is safe for the general public.
While a lot of this debate focuses on whether the law is good enough, another argument holds that the real problem is funding. But even with, let us say, its limited seafood power to regulate supplements, the FDA could still enforce a pretty decent standard of safety in the supplements market. But that will take staff and money, and that is another story. I'm John Donvan for Nightline in Washington.
In a moment, a leading critic of the dietary supplement industry and one of its leading lobbyists.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by IBM.
Let's change the rules. What if every rook had a desktop? What if every knight had a laptop? What if every bishop had a PDA? What if they were all connected together? What if there were 15 queens? What if one game acquired other games? New players, new rules. What if it was all happening in real time? In this game, the most powerful move the king can make is to get the right software. It's a different kind of world. We need a different kind of software.
Imagine combining the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and freshening power of Listerine. You'd get Efferdent Plus. It's extra fresh, and nothing gets your dentures cleaner. Efferdent Clean, Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
Airfare, $1,900. Motorbike, $800. Crossing number 6 off your life's to-do list, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
Thursday, a punk outsider who needed to be different. Killed by this high school jock who crushed him under his car but will never go to jail for it. 2020 Downtown, Thursday.
Make them wait any longer. Six Flags, Darien Lake.
Save $9 with tickets from Tops Friendly Markets and Wilson Farms.
Summer breeze makes me feel fine. Blowing through the jasmine in my mind.
Summer breezes from Hampton Bay. The fans more people look up to than any other. Buy them at the Home Depot.
And joining us now from New York, Dr. Victor Herbert. He is chief of the Nutrition Center and Research at Mount Sinai School of Medicine. And joining us here in Washington, Michael McGuffin is president of the American Herbal Products Association, one of the leading trade groups representing the dietary supplement industry. Dr. Herbert, let me begin by finding out from you what you really think. Do you think that most of these products are essentially benign, mostly damaging, or like little sugar pills which are neither benign nor damaging?
I think some of them are mildly helpful, many of them are seriously harmful, and most of them are just a waste of your money.
Talk about, just for a moment, about the ones that you think are seriously harmful. When you say seriously, what do you mean?
Death, maiming, things like ephedra, which was mentioned earlier in the program. Ma Huang is ephedra. It's basically adrenaline, and it's like taking pills of adrenaline.
Do you have evidence that indeed people have died as a direct consequence of taking ephedra?
Oh, yes. And the FDA has evidence on a number of cases.
So why haven't they stopped it?
The FDA is forbidden to protect the public against any product the seller labels a supplement. Senator Hatch, who's the supplement industry's man in Congress, got through Congress the Hatch Act in '94, called Dietary Supplement Health Education Act, and the New York Times properly characterized it in an editorial as the Snake Oil Supplement Act.
All right, let's get Mr. McGuffin in here, because I think he's probably got a lot to say in his own behalf, and really more to the point, in his industry's behalf.
Yeah, these products are actually quite well regulated. We need to understand a little...
That's contrary to fact.
All right, hold on, Dr. Herbert. Let's let Mr. McGuffin talk for a moment.
We do need to understand a little of how this regulation came to be. The U.S. Congress unanimously approved the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act, partly in response to FDA's efforts to take herbs